Jason Blum wants more of Michael Myers after Halloween ends. Now, Jason Blum, if you don't know who he is, he's the founder of Blum House Productions. Blum House Productions, they house and they're the film company that has brought us movies like The Purge, Paranormal Activity, and also this reboot of the Halloween franchise. So Jason Blum recently said that he wants Michael Myers to stick around after this final chapter coming up in Halloween Ends. Now, Halloween Kills is scheduled to come out in roughly another week and a half on Friday, October 15th, and Halloween Ends is scheduled, technically to come out within another year, let's say year and a half or so, maybe 2 years now, because they haven't started actually filming the film yet. They're supposed to start production and filming it in January of 2022, so just a couple months from now. Now, Halloween Ends is supposed to bring everything to a close. Finally, we're going to get the climaxing end to the Laurie Strode, Jamie Lee Curtis, and her battle against Michael Myers. Now, this has been going on for some 40 years now, and this is about time to finally bring this to a close. But speaking to comicbook.com, Blum voiced his pleasure in making more Halloween movies after Halloween Ends releases. But this quote comes from comicbook.com, and Blum says, "We made an arrangement for 3 movies. We had a 3-picture marriage with Michael Myers. I would love to extend it if Malek Akkad would let us. I love to extend it, but we're very busy making sure the 3rd movie is spectacular because that's our immediate job. And if it goes beyond that, I'd be thrilled. But there are currently no plans for us to be involved after this 3rd movie." Now, this is where my opinions on this, full disclosure, it's been very documented throughout on my channel and just in my lifetime that I'm a huge Halloween Michael Myers fan, super fan, mega fan. But the end has to be drawn somewhere. I feel that this has been going on for 40 years. We've seen so many incarnations of Michael Myers, whether it's been in the 1980s, then, where the film kind of went dormant for a little while. Then we had the, Halloween 6 in the 1990s. And then we had the H2O, which was supposed to reboot the franchise with Jamie Lee Curtis. And then they killed Jamie Lee Curtis off 2 years later, a couple years later, 3 years later in Halloween Resurrection. And then they brought her back in Halloween 2018 just to ignore all of those films. I just feel that it is time, once Halloween Ends comes and Halloween Ends is here, this version of Michael Myers has to end. I mean, I think it's okay to move the franchise in a different direction. And that direction could possibly mean a bunch of different things. It could mean a new anthology series. It could mean something like what they tried to do, but they successfully failed with Halloween 3 back in the 80s, Season of the Witch, where this, Halloween franchise tried not to focus on Michael Myers and it focused on a whole nother premise of Halloween and taking it into a different realm. I personally think that they need to just move on after Halloween Ends from the Michael Myers saga. Michael Myers should rest in peace and come to an end once Halloween End comes. There's no doubt about that. Another idea that I was thinking about, they could maybe kick around, they could revisit revisit the Dr. Loomis character and maybe come out with a series on streaming, whether it be Peacock or whether it be another streaming channel and have a series based on, Dr. Loomis and I'm not talking about Dr. Loomis and his hunt and quest to hunt down Michael Myers. We've seen that in every single film in the 1980s and early 1990s. We don't need that because Dr. Loomis was a doctor at a mental institution and he did assist multiple patients, I'm assuming, besides Michael Myers. Michael Myers wasn't his only patient. They could maybe visit Dr. Loomis and let's take a look at some of the other, kooky or somewhat wacky or somewhat, mysterious or somewhat scary, some of his other, disturbed patients that he was attending to besides Michael Myers. I definitely don't feel like, they should just come out with a series about Loomis focusing on Michael Myers. We've seen, Michael Myers at a young age in the Rob Zombie films. They thoroughly tried to come up with a background story on his youth. And we don't, I personally didn't like that. I think the less we know about The Shape, the less we know about Michael, the better. The Shape, Michael should always, his early childhood, things of that nature should always remain mysterious. We don't need to revisit Michael's youth like, Rob Zombie did. I thought those movies were, just fell flat on their faces and were just terrible and not good. So I definitely think that they could definitely take the series and the franchise in a totally different direction. Michael is going on, 70 years old now? So it has to come to an end. All good things must come to an end. And as much as I love Michael and I love the franchise, I love what John Carpenter started, and I love Jamie Lee Curtis, all good things must eventually come to an end. This is AP. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, if you will. I definitely appreciate that. And I will check y'all later. Peace, blessings, and one love.